Welcome back to one of my painting demonstrations. Today I'm going to do the interior of an old cottage. Okay, I spray the paper first with my misting bottle like before, like on my other paintings. If you check my other videos you'll see I generally do the same thing. I'm going to start with a wash of raw sienna, and that wash will be a very wash. I'll be adding some crimson and some cobalt blue as I work my way around the page. So basically it's just a very wash around the page, of varied mixes of raw sienna, a bit of burnt umber at times, cobalt blue, and a little bit of magenta in the cobalt blue. I'm just working my way around the table, working out where my lights are going to be. As you can see, I've mixed in blue into the cobalt blue and a touch of magenta into the raw sienna, just to cool it down about in corners. Now I'm working my way around the table, and just adding a varied mix of cobalt blue, magenta with a little bit of raw sienna, just to grey it out slightly. And this is my first wash, so as the painting progresses we'll have lots more washes. Obviously subsequent washes will go over the top of this, so this is just the first wash. But when you see, it helps by getting that paper, that white paper covered up, and so it doesn't make it feel so intimidating. Okay, now so I'm just painting in the windows, the window frames, and I'm just using a grey mix of cobalt blue, a touch of magenta and a bit of raw sienna, just very loosely painting this in. This is a very loose painting. It's not highly detailed. It's broad brush strokes. It has an impressionistic feel to it. Now I'm putting more detail into the walls with mixtures of raw umber, cobalt blue and a touch of magenta. And the blue's cooling it down a bit. If you keep these washes, if you add lots of colours to these washes, it keeps them really interesting. If you just had brown, it would look really boring, and it just wouldn't look right. So add blue to your mixes, different blues. I added a little bit too much blue here, and I was wondering what to do about it, but it comes out okay in the end because you can go back over it. I started introducing some cooler colour, some browns to it later on. And I'm working my way around, as you can see, just using varied washes. Paint around the flowers on the table because obviously I want to preserve the lights on the flowers. And it's just a question of working your way around the picture. Plan what you want to do at the start. If you have an idea of what you want to end up with, that really does help, than just sort of painting and not really knowing where you're going. So just more mixes of raw umber, cobalt, touch of magenta, just to that back wall, which is in a lot of shadow. Now this is the lintel over the window. I just marked that in with some burnt sienna and a little ultramarine. The paint's still very wet here, so it's blending into the surrounding paint. When a bit, see, this was a mistake by me really. I went a bit dark here, and it looked too dark at this stage of the painting, but I kind of knew I could recover it towards the end. As the rest of the painting develops, that will sit back. It won't look so out of place. So as you do paintings, you're going to make mistakes, and you kind of figure out ways you can resolve those as you move through the painting. This is the picture that's hanging on the wall. I'm just kind of adding more detail to it, just broad brush strokes. I want to preserve the light in the painting because there's a reflection from an opposite facing window, which kind of takes your eye into the picture more. And the little painting on the left hand side. Now just putting in the frame with my rigger, and look how sort of loosely I'm doing it. I'm not sort of worrying about real straight edges. I'm just kind of drawing it in quite roughly, I guess, but for me that works best. That's the way I prefer to paint, and I prefer the overall look. The wash is slightly wet still that I'm painting on, so that the edge of the lining sort of bleeds into the wash beneath. Just sketching in the chair now. Mixes of burnt sienna and cobalt. More washes will go over this chair so it won't look so hard later on in the painting. It will sit back. Okay, back to the window frame. Just a bluey mix of cobalt, raw sienna and a touch of magenta to grey out slightly. And it's just a very, very loose sketch of a painting. We're not looking for detail. We want to get on with painting it, not struggling to kind of measure every angle and get everything perfect. Unless you want to, and then I guess you should be watching a different video. There's a tree outside, so I'm kind of just sketching that in loosely. That's just a mix of cadmium, cobalt blue, and a touch of magenta, or cad red would do for the darker areas. You could just see it through the net curtains, so instead of painting it the bright green through the curtains, I'm just using a greyed out mix, slightly lighter, just so you can see the impression of the tree through the curtains. Now to the flowers on the table, just using a bit of magenta, adding a little bit of cobalt blue to the magenta to change it over. Again, it's just an impression. Now mixing up some yellow for some yellow flowers that was in the display. Adding some greens, same green as I got outside, I guess, with cobalt blue and cadmium. Cobalt blue, cadmium yellow, yes, and maybe a touch of magenta or cad red. The little vase that it all sat in, I'm just painting that in now with cobalt blue and the greyed out mixture. Now the side of the table. See, this painting only used half a dozen colours. We're back to the cobalt blue, raw sienna, magenta. I guess in total I used, what did I use? Raw umber, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, raw sienna, magenta. That was about it, I think. Oh, cad yellow for the flowers. Just painting the little vase, suggesting that. Now I want to darken up a little bit to give it more impact, because it's a very dark little cottage and I want to make it look more sort of old and dark, I guess. So I'm building up the washes here, working my way up the page. I want to keep that nice white, what do you call them, tablecloth. That's like the walls that are facing us. They're like, I don't know, they're kind of like a granite, I guess. But you couldn't really see any detail, but I kind of tried to suggest some. Now just painting in the end of the table. At this stage, that side of the painting was starting to look a bit of a mess. I was getting a little bit concerned, but as I put on more washes, it kind of sorts itself out a little bit. Always worth throwing a bit of paint on because that adds a little bit of texture. And okay, now I'm painting the shadows on the top of the table because the light coming through the windows casting a nice bright light on the table, so which we want to preserve. The flowers are casting a shadow, and obviously the end of the table would be in shadow also. Just building up another wash with the same mixes as before on the wall, just subsequent washes. I'll go over the chair just to help that sit back a little bit. This is just running the wash over the edges of the flowers that are in shadow. You see how freely I'm painting. The paint's running down the page. Now we're just building up some darks, and that's just mixes of burnt umber, ultramarine, and burnt umber and cerulean blue. It gives you a nice cooler shadow. Now if you notice that dark area to the right of the window, because there's bigger darks in other parts of the painting, that's sitting back a little bit now. It's not looking as worrying as it was to start with. In fact, so just cooling it down a bit with a bit of cerulean blue and burnt umber, because I wanted to get the light coming through that window. I'm not sure I succeeded, but you know, we try. I'm just lifting a bit of the colour out of the vase, just with a damp brush, and that's nearly it really. Just reinforcing just drawing some lines around the frame, and we're nearly done. Just sketching in the actual pattern on the tablecloth. Very loosely, just a wash of I think it's cobalt blue. Just with a fine brush. I'm not worrying too much about it. Just adding some more cool colour to the net curtains, just kind of show the folds. A little bit of suggested detail to the pictures. Again, you know, like always, you've got to be careful you don't fiddle too much. You've got to kind of know when you've done enough, which is often very hard. Very hard to be sort of subjective about the painting, because you'll be looking at it for an hour or so. So sometimes it's best just to leave it, walk away for 10 minutes, then come back, and you often see it in a different light when you come back. Just finishing off the greens here, and that's it. We're almost done. Just the dark foliage. Oh, what was I doing there? Just a slight wash over the picture, and that's it. Balance it up with this one too, and we're done. Leave any comments or questions if you've got any, and I'll try and answer them for you. Or if you have any requests on things you'd like me to paint, I'll also try and do that for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like my stuff.